Hello and welcome to another episode of Super Nerds UK.
We've just got back from watching Avengers Age of Ultron. Just a little film.
You might have heard about it over the year.
Was it good? It was very, very good. This is going to be our spoiler review, so only watch this film if you've seen it, or you're not going to see it and you're not really bothered about it.
If you don't care about spoilers, then fine, watch this movie. But if you do, don't watch this. Put it on pause for a bit. Go watch the film for 2.5 hours. Come back, and then you can watch it, and you can help. You can give us all your chats and thoughts and everything on the comments below, and tell us what you think about it. Disagree or agree with what we say. Great.
Yeah. So the film starts.
Yeah.
Action straight away.
Action straight away, right in the middle of this blizzard field where they're fighting against Hydra, and there's tanks being thrown in the air, there's bodies flying everywhere, there's explosions from
Captain America's throwing motorbikes.
Yeah, oh, that was a great thing. That Captain America flipping this motorbike. Oh, that was fantastic. I love the way.
That's actually in the trailer.
It's almost a Legolas move.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
We also get to see in the first couple of scenes, after all the fighting stopped, we get to see the first initiation of the relationship between Black Widow and the Incredible Hulk.
Yes. Which built into a kiss near the end of the film, and then, well, unfortunately, the Hulk says, this can't go anywhere. Oh, not the Hulk, but
Bruce
Banner says it. There's no future for us, and Scarlet is wanting the future. She wants to run with it, but he's not really keen on it, and eventually runs away.
Yeah, he gets off on the plane, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's kind of sad, really.
And it sets up for a story arc, we think, don't we?
Well, you give your theory.
I think it's setting up for Planet Hulk. I know they keep denying it. They keep saying it's not going to happen.
Could be, could not. I mean,
But we all know he ends up going upwards to get to Planet Hulk, and that looks like that's where he's going to make. Could just be a nod towards it, because later on they say he's come down into the sea. We don't know, do we?
Maybe.
But it's definitely there to plant the seed, I think. So another thing that we'll talk about is we both feel, we've discussed before, that it's like they've tried to establish and push the characters in this film, haven't they, that haven't had their own solo films.
Yeah, so you got Hawkeye, you got Black Widow, sorry, who obviously haven't had their own movies yet. They've I say yet, we don't know for sure whether they're going to get their own movies, but they've had secondary parts in other films previously, but they've not really been able to develop their story arc as much. So they've used the Avenger films to kind of move them on a bit more, because we see a lot more of Scarlet's past when she was training, and we see a bit more of Hawkeye's life outside of the Avengers.
Yeah.
We find out he has a family and a wife.
2 children?
2 kids, yeah, and a farm home,
You think we're shocked? Wait till you see the other Avengers when they turn up and he's got a family there.
Wasn't expecting it at all. Just said this is a safe house. I was expecting some SHIELD old headquarters.
I was expecting like some hut in the forest somewhere or something.
And then he walks in and his family and wife is waiting there. Yeah.
But that was something that I really liked, because we've not seen much of Hawkeye. Because in the first one, he was under the control of Loki. We never got to see the character Hawkeye.
True, yeah.
And in the comics and in animated series I've seen, he's quite a wisecracking. He's very cheeky sort of character. Yeah. And in this came through.
Yeah, it did
he had some cracking one-liners.
Yeah.
And in the end, he's the one who gets Scarlet Witch to come forward as an Avenger. He told, "Come on, you need to get yourself together, get yourself out here, fight with us." And that's what she does, and it's Hawkeye that does that. And Hawkeye actually, because I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about it now, he does actually do a lot of the driving behind the Avengers, doesn't he? Tells them to do a lot of stuff.
Well, he does. That's why his wife says they need you. And the fact that they go to this family farm and everything like that, it shows you what they're fighting for. Because at this moment, the team's breaking away. They're
falling apart.
They're falling apart. There's arguments going on. You've got Captain America and Tony Stark arguing over different moralities they have over what is good and bad over war, and whether to start a war, end a war, or just stop a war without starting it. And it's kind of breaking the team apart Thor's gone off because he's had this mental vision that he wants to find answers about, so he's left the party, and it's hanging by a thread.
It's a great conversation, isn't it, where his wife's standing there in the little kitchen together, and his wife and his Hawkeye, and she goes, you're just a human being amongst these. She says gods.
She says gods, yeah.
And he goes, and he turns around and goes, what, and you think they don't need me, or you're afraid they don't need me? And she turns around and she goes, no, I'm afraid that they do need you. And it's a great conversation.
You always expect the wife to be, don't be doing this, you're scaring me, you might not come back one day and you might die. It's kind of the Rocky thing, where his wife was always saying, you can't win, and all that, but it's the total opposite. It's like, they need you, I'm having a baby, but you can go out and fight with all these people. It's a very strong character for that, actually. I kind of like that twist to it.
Yeah. Well, that was probably a bit in the film where you get to breathe for 5 minutes, because
there's a lot of action.
2 hours and 20 minutes, I would say there's at least an hour and 15 minutes worth of action, fighting.
Because in the first Avengers movie, you have a bit of action with them all fighting each other for a tiny bit, but then there's a long pause while they're all sort of getting to know each other, and you're finding out what Loki wants, and then at the very end you've got all the action all at once, and then you have the Phantom Menace ending and everything. But with this, there's action from the very beginning, pauses for 10 minutes, and then back into all the action. It's basically they're looking for Ultron. Where's Ultron gone? He's in the internet. Oh crap, where's Ultron? I was describing it like whack-a-mole, that he's popping up everywhere and they're just whacking him.
Looking for him.
Whacking him with this hammer. And but I think the strong points in it for me are the characters do keep their own. The character arcs for me carry on strong. For me, all the actors do really well. The banter's fantastic in it. Yeah. I really like the humour in it. There's some humour that
my favourite bit was where Ultron and all the Avengers have been fighting for ages, and it's coming towards the end of the big battle at the end. Ultron's a bit war damaged and he's flying off in a plane, and the back of the plane's open, and all of a sudden you just see the Hulk dive into the back of this plane, and you don't see Ultron, but all you can hear is his voice, and all you can hear him say, "Oh, for God's sake!" I thought this.
And then just throws him out.
And then I was laughing my head off. And it was absolutely hilarious.
It was just a good moment. The timing was very good. There was another bit like that where you see Vision for the first time. Yeah. He comes into his own. He builds this little cape out of nothing. Just grows a cape because he sees Thor. So he goes, "Oh, I like that cape. I think I'll have my own." And he gives them a little monologue about why he supports life.
Why he's different from Ultron.
Yeah. And then you'll just have to see it from Worthy. And then he's holding Thor's hammer, giving it to Thor. And before that, everyone's tried to lift it and no one can, but Captain America gets a little wobble and that's it. But he's just holding the hammer out to Thor.
Like it's
and everyone's just staring at him going, okay, and Thor goes, right, let's go. I just like that. It was just a good moment.
But that's where Marvel, I think, differentiates, doesn't it, from the DC universe. We're not going to get none out with the DC universe. So if we like this type of stuff, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because we've just seen the Batman v Superman trailer, and as good as it is, it's depressing.
With the Marvel films, if you really want your comic book feel. They're the ones you get. If you want your rough, gritty, intertwined, underground story and grittiness, your DC ones are more for that. It's kind of not. It's more you try to keep it too real in some ways in the DC, whereas the Marvel has a really good light balance. I think about the fact that the characters are. They even joke about the way they're so powerful and stuff, and or gods or whatever, and you keep in that's how they keep it real, but. It just works in that way, I think.
And Joss Whedon went and does something that he always does, doesn't he? Killed somebody off.
Killed someone, yeah. And
there's been questions for the past 6 months, who's he going to kill off? And I was absolutely convinced. Hawkeye. Absolutely convinced of it.
Especially when they built Hawkeye up.
They built Hawkeye up with this family and that, and then at the end there's there's a young child left behind, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay,
And you see Hawkeye turn around. There's nobody else around, and Ultron comes. This is just before the Hulk gets
in the plane, just before
and
Hulk
he's
gets him.
firing these bullets at him and towards Hawkeye and the kid. And Hawkeye grabs the kid, turns round so the bullets are coming towards him. And then Quicksilver jumps in front of the bullets.
Quicksilver jumps in, moves him out of the way, and then you just see him with bullet holes in him going, "Did you see that?" Or something like that, isn't it? And then falls over.
And you know what? I didn't think I was going to like the Quicksilver character.
He grew on you, didn't he?
He grew on you as the film got on, as did Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
And I think, come to think of it now, and we spoke about it before, is I think it was an easy way out for Marvel because X-Men have got Quicksilver in there as well, because they don't actually call him Quicksilver in this, do they? Just call him Peter.
Yeah.
And I think it was the way around the whole problem, having the same character in two different universes.
Yeah, so
they thought, we'll bring him in, we'll mention him, but then we won't have him in again. So now, the X-Men may have Quicksilver, but now Marvel have got Scarlet Witch now, haven't they? So they can go on and use. And while we're talking about Scarlet Witch, I thought Scarlet Witch was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good.
Yeah, there was even as what was that Quicksilver? What's his name again?
But the actor's name's
well, anyway, when a twin brother dies, there was kind of a Frozen moment, you know, in Frozen where Elsa's
ice powers just sort of explode.
Yeah, she just goes like that and everything freezes. It was a lot like that, only more destructive because it kills a lot of the Ultron bots as she does it. I thought that was quite good. It does have really good moments in the film, and it does hold up. It's definitely up there with one of the better ones. It's not a bad film in any way. Probably not as good as the first one.
I'd say if you were going to put all the Marvel MCU films in order and rate them, and what do you think was the best, this would be in the top 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Easy.
In fact, you do that for us. You give us your rating of all the films so far of what you think is the top to bottom best.
I don't think it's better than the first Avengers. It's probably not better than Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America 2, but then it probably falls just below them, I think.
Yeah.
And there isn't a massive difference between them. It's not a
It's very
huge
close.
difference.
It's very close.
And like, it may be just in case that we're spoiled now because we've seen the first Avengers film.
Yeah.
Because I'm not being funny, if I hadn't seen the first Avengers film and I went into that today,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have left the cinema. I'd be gone back in and watched this.
I suppose because you got some similarities from the first one as well, because it's the only way to involve all the characters, I suppose, is having multiple enemies coming at them. And so you've got that again as the same way you had in the first one. So they've got multiple enemies all coming at them from waves and waves of them, and they're just all smashing. There's even that key scene again where it goes into slow motion, cameras panning around, and you see them all doing all the smashes.
Oh, you mean like the one shot? That was the first scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, they actually had a big long shot in the very first scene. That was actually quite clever.
Yeah.
A little bit, you can see almost a little bit of the CGI
I
moments.
thought the special effects weren't great there.
Just a few moments there, looked a little rushed, but it's forgivable. But yeah, there's another moment where they're all inside the tower, the church tower at the centre of the island that they're on, and then it goes in slow motion.
Yeah.
And you see the camera panning around, and all of them are fighting in different ways with all the bots coming at them.
See the Hulk, and made me laugh. You see him bite a head off a robot.
Oh, speaking of fighting, the Hulk
and the Hulk Buster,
probably one of the best moments of the film. Actually,
the whole fight was just.
It was really.
I don't use this word, but it was epic. It was fantastic, and it fitted into the film well. It wasn't just put in there for being put in there's sake.
Yeah.
It was put in there for the reason, part of the story, and it absolutely delivered.
Yeah, it did. It was a good 5-minute long battle between the Hulk Buster armor and the Hulk himself, and it worked really well. It was just. There's some good funny moments in it as well through all of that. I mean, there's destruction going on. There's people running for their lives everywhere. There was a kind of a 9/11 sort of hint to it all, where you see people covered in dust and crying,
running away from this dust that's all coming towards them.
Because there's a whole building that's collapsed basically, and then but there's this bit where the Hulkbuster arm has got the Hulk onto the ground, and he's punching him in the face with a repeated
And
punch.
so what's he saying? Go to sleep.
Like, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Trying to knock him out just to stop him from killing everyone.
He knocks his tooth out, doesn't he?
Yeah, go on.
Where Tony Stark's got these big battling arms on this Hulkbuster, and he goes and he goes bang, and he catches him and
squares him out. Yeah.
And you see the Hulk spit it out, and you just see the Hulk, and the way he looks at him, and it goes in, and you see Tony Stark's face inside the helmet like you do. He just sees him and go, sorry. And it was just another great. It was a film that was full of great moments and great scenes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just weren't put together.
Quite pacey enough. The slower moments were like the detective moments at the beginning, the whack-a-mole bit I call it, where they're looking for Ultron and like, let's try and find him. The internet's down and all this is down. Let's try and and then you go, there he is. It's like, oh, they found him already.
But there's no explanation to why he found him. He just sort of pops up.
Yeah, and then there's also the bit where Tony Stark gets Scarlet Witch gives him the vision at the very beginning of the film, and he finds the staff and he sees this vision of all his team dead, and they say, you could have helped us, and it scares him for the rest of the film in a way. That's what kind of pans out for the arguments and the further on the team. And then you're kind of wondering, when they're looking for Ultron, is he still...
Because what happens is he grabs the staff.
Yeah.
Or whatever Loki's things on, he grabs it and pulls it away, and then the next one goes to the title card, doesn't it?
Avengers,
And then you're thinking, has he grabbed that still under the spell, or has he broke out of it, or...
Yeah.
Because you see the redness go away, like he's come out of it, but the way he grabs it, it just doesn't seem to be something right, does it? It's dead confusing.
For like the later 10 minutes of that, you're thinking, because he's the one who comes up with the idea of Ultron, and you're thinking to yourself, is he under an influence here? Is he doing it to make Ultron, or is he just trying innocently to be, to make Ultron?
And the other thing that confuses you more is when he grabs it, Scarlet Witch is smiling behind his back.
Yeah, because she's saying, just leave him, he'll do it for us or something. So that for me needed a bit more explaining as to what was going on there for me. After a little while, you suddenly realise, oh no, he wasn't. He was just trying to make Ultron as a good thing, but it backfires. But so in the end, you create Vision.
Vision,
fantastic,
absolutely brilliant. Paul Bettany is Vision.
Pulls it off superbly, I thought, and he looks brilliant as well.
Well, I was expecting to see, because when you see the Vision for the little bit you see them in the trailer, it's the CGI bit, isn't it? When he's first coming out and round, you see his ass moving and that. So I was expecting to see this totally CGI Paul Bettany, and he's not, is he?
No, this is makeup, yeah.
It's makeup.
And it must have taken hours to do.
Yeah,
I mean, he might use a little bit of CGI for his cape and stuff. But,
I would say about 80% of that figure of Paul Bettany is Paul Bettany. And it's done really well.
It's great to see him in the flesh in a way.
Because he's been in the films for so long and no one...
Well, he's been since the beginning, hasn't he? Since Iron Man, he's the voice of Jarvis, sorry.
And
Jarvis.
But, and I wasn't disappointed. I thought he'd actually have a smaller part. When he comes into it, he's a massive part of that team, and he's a massive part of that finale.
I actually can't wait to see him again.
Yeah?
I would like to see him again in the movie very soon. And just a bit between him and Thor as well, because he can hold the hammer. Yeah. And there's a little bit in that as well where it's very well balanced. Thor going, yes, if it's top heavy, it gives you less of a swing.
It's great.
It really works.
The
banter
that was probably one of the best things about it. It's good. Yeah. As good as the action scenes were and the big explosions, spectacles and all that were, the thing that I like so much is how much I laughed. I wasn't expecting to laugh that much during that film.
Because especially in the trailers, you think it's going to be really dark with that got no strings tune going on. There's a lot of quotes from the Bible as well with Ultron. And
something else we haven't mentioned, how funny is Ultron?
Yeah, Ultron is actually quite funny in a sort of sadistic way. Kind of like...
he's almost like
evil funny.
He's almost like a die-hard villain.
But Skeletor style.
It's like a good die-hard villain.
Yeah.
That's the way I describe it. It's really... His humour is on the money, but it's really cruel humour, isn't it?
And also, I think this is up there with one of the best villains as well.
Yeah, I think Marvel have needed this, because Marvel I think one of the weakest parts of their films, as much as all the films in the MCU, apart from Loki.
Yeah, apart from Loki.
The villains have all just been generic villains.
Yeah, generic, sort of one-dimensional.
Yeah.
But this time he's got a bit more grunt to him and a bit more, a bit more three-dimensional, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, finally we'll talk about the end credit scene.
End credit scene, yeah, with the gauntlet.
As good as it was, I was a bit disappointed because I thought it wasn't anything I wasn't not expecting.
We were already expecting something like that, and we've already had, because of the press release they did with the way you saw the gauntlet and all the stuff, the gems on it, where they showed it. That was already kind of a teaser for us. So
it was,
to show that kind of again,
it was just him putting the gauntlet on. That was it. Just Thanos going. Now, what do you say? Now it's time for me to have my turn or something like that.
I have to do this myself or something like that. Yeah. Obviously, because he's repeatedly sent other people. He's got something about Earth, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's repeatedly sent things to happen in motion to get all the stones and stuff like that. I was just going to do it myself now. I should have done that in the first place. Lazy bones.
Yeah, everyone will work on all the fantastic films. So that's our spoiler review.
Yep.
If you watched our non-spoiler review, you know that I give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd go with my 8, but
yeah,
7.5.
Just because I think some of the scenes could have been panned out a bit better, and well, at least the first third of the movie could have been going into the action straight away worked, but it could have been a little bit.
You need to ease yourself into these things, don't you?
It's just kind of bang.
Boom, there you go.
So yeah, but really enjoyed it. Love the banter.
I'll go and see it again.
The second acts of the film, really good.
Oh.
So it's definitely worth a see at the cinema. Definitely worth buying on Blu-ray. Easily, and it'll be one to crown in your collection on your shelf when you buy it, and I think you'll enjoy it. It has been slated a little bit, hasn't it?
I've noticed a couple of slatings already on the internet.
So see it for yourself and let us know what you think.
Are we talking rubbish or do you agree with us 100%?
Yeah. So thank you ever so much again for watching our videos. Really appreciate it.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at supernerds_UK.
Yeah.
Go over to our website at www.supernerdsuk.com.
Yeah.
And follow us on our YouTube channel, which is Super Nerds UK. Like our videos, subscribe to our videos, and we'll keep making more.
Yeah.
And thanks again.
Thanks again. See you next time.